Alrighty, well, let's get moving here. Thanks for joining everybody. Really appreciate your time this morning or this afternoon, depending where you're coming from. Um, so before we get into today's webinar, just can I get like a quick show of hands or some comments in the chat? Does anyone here want to beat the banks at client retention? I know it's topical right now. So okay, seeing Kayla with a hand
Oh,
raised.
sweet.
Bunch more. Okay. Okay, good. Because that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, just some introductions here. So I'm Dan McDonald. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Ownwell. I'm here with my co-host Frank, who I think all of you know from Lendesk, and then also he's going to be monitoring the chat today and responding to some questions. Arthur, also from our team at Ownwell, he just recently joined on the customer success side. So. Why are Frank and I here? What's this all about? Well, I actually used to work with Frank a couple years back at Lendesk. Prior to starting Ownwell, I was head of product over there, and with Frank on the sales side, it was really great because I got to hear, what customers were asking for from him, and then we would be trying to implement those things in the product. And when I decided to branch out on my own and build something else in this space. I decided to launch it with Lendesk and Finmo first. So we launched Ownwell last summer. We did a webinar, about just over a year ago now, and Finmo was our first integration, and that was very much intentional. It's because we know from our time at Finmo how seamless it is to integrate with other products. And we really wanted to make that experience seamless for people who are using Ownwell for retention and getting more business from their database as well. So wanted to give everyone an update on kind of where the product's at today, and specifically in the context of this renewal wave that's going on right now, when we know the banks are at such an unfair advantage. And really, that's one of the reasons why we built Ownwell, is to give brokers an edge in this space. And so we'll get into it shortly. The plan for today is we're going to take you through a short presentation on how we think you can win in the context of retention and renewals. Specifically, we're going to show you what our solution is, why it works, how it works. We'll show you tangibly the product itself. We'll go through some examples. And all that together, I don't think that'll take more than maybe 25, 30 minutes. And the plan is to have about 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. So Arthur's going to be in the chat. We might pick on a couple questions as we go. Frank, you can interrupt me at any time, and we can answer questions live. But rest assured, if we don't get to them during the presentation itself, we'll get there at the end. So before I kick things off, Frank, is there anything you want to mention before we get going here?
Yeah, I just want to say Dan's pretty modest because he was one of the main brains, at Lendesk, and he was responsible for a lot of the success. So seeing him go obviously came with some sadness, but it was for sure a matter of time. It's a small industry, and I knew it was going to be up to great things. So I'm really happy that, you're taking the time to bring me in today and for us to collaborate again. And the nice thing with Dan is that he has the same goal in mind, basically, that Finmo has, which is how do we make brokers more successful in their business and keeping their focus on their core business and let the tech do the magic. And so it makes so much sense for us. There's so much synergy between the two system and the two company philosophies that it makes sense for us to be together today and to assist all of you guys, having a more successful business, taking better care of your clients. I'm excited to get things going.
Well, thank you, Frank. You've teed me up perfectly. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to rely on you to let me know if everything's visible. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. You should see the slide deck. Can you just let me know if you see that deck okay there, the title
See
page?
your deck, okay. We see your tabs too, so make sure if you have any secrets to hide
Oh
them.
yeah.
The rest should be good.
No, the bank account, that's another window. So yeah, no stress. And yeah, so we'll start with the slide deck. Won't take long. We'll jump into a product demo, and then we'll get to some questions here. So today's topic: beating the banks and renewal readiness, and how Finmo and Ownwell are the perfect combination to do that. All right, so you've probably been hearing for about 18 months now about this renewal wave and that it's this gold rush for brokers. Well, we think that's a bit misleading. We think it's actually a mirage. It seems like it should be possible, but in practice, it hasn't been. And that's because the banks just have this massive unfair advantage. Speaking about myself as a a mortgage holder, I happen to have gotten it with TD through my broker. Our renewal that's coming up in December, they started reaching out a year ago. It started with emails, then in-app alerts. I'm getting phone calls and voicemail drops every day now. It's just wild. And then, only recently, about 120 days out, did I get my broker's, renewal reminder email. But the reality is TD has already been in touch through multiple touch points, multiple channels along the way. And so because of that, it's just unfair. Like TD's been top of mind. They've been in my bank account. I'm getting my mortgage statements throughout the entire process. And when the broker is only being able to get involved, at renewal time, I think the game is kind of already lost. Um, so just kind of comparing some approaches here, right? Like the banks, they're always visible, right? I mean, it's the biggest expense in our bank account, of course, is the monthly mortgage payment. So I always see that on a monthly basis. Um, they have insanely aggressive and well-resourced renewal teams. Like even though I'm sick of seeing that that TD number on my phone literally every day now. Yeah, I've taken their call eventually because it's just I kind of want to make them go away. And then really frustrating is, some of you must have done a lot of work with a client to get them, a great rate, only to have them undercut you at the last minute. That just sucks. And then also, there's a structural advantage here, of course, the lender as well. It's just the path of least resistance for clients. So that's what's going on with the banks and why they're winning this fight. Now, going back to kind of the status quo for most brokers, unfortunately, they're often out of sight between deals. And that generic traditional email marketing just doesn't cut through the noise. There's so much going on in people's inboxes these days. And of course, you're not a multi-billion dollar company with call centers of thousands who are working around the clock to try to secure that renewal. And as there's some friction in getting clients to move away from their current lender. So it's an unfair fight. Is that, Frank, kind of from what you've heard from some of the brokers that you work with, is that resonating?
It is, and the one of the main thing too, talking about the Mirage, is that as much as there was clearly a difference in rates a few years back to now, it's not just that wave. That kind of strategy is ongoing and moving forward, especially now. The banks figured out, hey, if we reach out ahead of time, it'll be successful. So the people I speak to, my process for those of you who haven't been part of it, is I like to have ongoing interview with broker owners to understand their reality in the industry. And it was so polarizing what I was hearing from most of the outfits out there. On the one hand, it would be, oh man, the banks are taking everything. It's been really hard. We're pivoting to some more B stuff and some private lending, and we're trying to readjust our process and our demographics. But on the other side, I had this is the best year I've ever had. And we see it in our numbers in Finmo, that polarizing aspect of it. And the main thing was that it's how you beat the bank was those people who managed their database, had regular touch point, constantly being top of mind with great value, they were successful. So the two takeaways, not just what Dan is saying in terms of, okay, well, you got to be a step ahead, which is true and a real thing, but it's also that it doesn't have to be just now. This is an ongoing strategy you could use throughout for your business. A lot of your business should come from being top of mind of your client and being able to give them value. And a lot of brokers I speak to is that they focus so much on top of funnel and sometimes calling and trying to get new referrals to come in that they neglect the database, which is such a readily available tool to generate business. And that's a bit what we'll be discussing as well here today. I don't know if you hear you on your side, then people are like, I missed it. It's too late, not worth it to sort of like jump in. But for me, it's like it's an ongoing strategy, it can be used at all time.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's a perfect segue through to the next slide here. So, the good news is it's not all doom and gloom. There is real gold here, and we've now been in business for just over a year, and we've seen it. And we're gonna, a little bit later get into some of the strategies that some of our top customers have used to generate business, from repeat business from the same clients over time. So Where we know that you can win because we've seen it in the results of our customers is mid-cycle. So before the renewal. That's the big takeaway here is if you're kind of banking on that renewal window, that's too late. Start from the beginning, start early, start before the banks are even engaging, and that's where you can win because banks aren't motivated to have people change their mortgage, 2 years into a 5-year term. So why is there opportunity here in the first place? Well, what we've learned over the past year is that there are two forces constantly at play, creating new needs. One is the market's always fluctuating, right? You guys all know that. But maybe the thing that's a little bit less visible to folks is the changes in clients' lives that are also happening all the time. And while you know about the market fluctuations, it's impossible to know at scale for all of your clients all the things that are happening in their lives that might warrant a mortgage or a real estate need. So things that I'm talking about are like, okay, marital breakdowns, people starting families, people having to move for work, inheritances. There's all of these factors, these personal motivations that, when paired with changes in the market, create new needs and new opportunities if you're in the right place at the right time to assist your clients with them. And so that's where we know that you can win and where we think brokers should be focusing versus waiting until renewal time. So, what's the solution to all this? Because the challenge, of course, is staying top of mind. We mentioned before that these kind of traditional emails, happy birthdays, renewal reminders, they don't cut through the noise anymore. People are expecting personalization in the age of AI. So what we've done is we've created what we truly know is the most valuable information that a mortgage advisor could possibly provide to their clients. It's stuff like their estimated home value. Can they save interest right now? Not just like, hey, the Bank of Canada has cut, rates by 25 basis points, but how much could they actually save? Um, what equity do they have? What can they use that equity for? Can they move up right now? This is stuff that the average Canadian homeowner does not have access to. One of the biggest surprises, Frank, since we launched just over a year ago, is we've learned that most Canadian homeowners have no idea what their equity position is. And at first that might seem surprising, but then remember, like, unlike everyone here in the room today, consumers aren't spending their days thinking about mortgages, right? And they're lazy and they're busy and they're not going to do the work to figure out, okay, what's my home worth right now? Oh, okay, what's my mortgage balance? Right. Here's how much equity I have there for, I might be able to afford this much home. People aren't doing those things. So what we find is when people are empowered with this kind of information from their mortgage advisor who's there to assist with questions that they might have, some number of them act. And even if they don't act right away, they're going to be thinking about their home and their mortgage and their equity and the fact that you are the person that's providing them with this information throughout the term. And eventually, when it does come time for them to make that decision, the mortgage advisor is top of mind. So that's the solution that we have to this problem of staying relevant from the beginning and getting involved before before the banks are at this unfair advantage at renewal time, putting all their resources into it so that you're in the fight. So that's the solution. I'm going to just take you through kind of now what this means for brokers is okay, before we were looking at on that previous slide, these are the challenges. You're kind of out of sight between deals. You're unable to match the bank's resources. You've got to do all this extra work to get people to switch. On the other hand, with Finmo and Ownwell together, you're able to stay visible year round throughout the cycle every month with these automated personalized homeownership reports. You're able to provide automated insights to your clients that banks don't, probably because they don't want to. Like, why would a bank say, hey, you could save interest right now? So there's all this information that banks just aren't, like, they probably know it, but they just don't have an incentive to share it with their consumers. And so you can provide them with that. Instead of losing a deal when the bank swoop in at renewal, you're able to win deals before renewal. And ultimately, the idea here is build lasting client relationships, like this whole client for life idea. That's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, and something I'll echo before you jump to the other thing, Dan, is on top of staying top of mind, it's the value builds trust, right? And the like you've hinted at it that the email, for wishing a happy birthday to customer, it's very important and it's being a big part of like the broker culture. For everybody I talk to that look, at their CRM, they're asking, what about the birthday email? But in the reality of a borrower, what happens on their birthday is they get an email from you, they get one from Best Buy, they get one from Disney Plus, they get one from anything else they've put their email in. So they get 52 birthday emails, not so much of a standout. And if at all they go through it to go like, wow, my broker is really thinking about me today, they know that it's part of the automation. The culture of consumerism has changed. And, in order for you guys to be able to go with the change as well, you need to change how you move on with building trust and being top of mind for your borrowers. And we're at the age of influencers as well. Now, there's so many conflicting information on all kinds of topic that people are often unable to discern like, well, what is true? Is that good? Because they're going to get promos on all kinds of stuff. If they Google mortgage rate, they're going to be bombarded with all kinds of lenders and promotion and anything that they're going to say, I do not know what I can trust. That's an overwhelming thing. So when you constantly give value without asking something in return, it builds trust for your consumer. So now they go, well, the first one, that's interesting. The second one, well, that's great. The third one, it's like, man, I really appreciate that. So when it comes time for that person to raise their hand, this is why you're top of mind. You're able to cut through all that. And what you're going to come at, Dan, I want to sold the punch, but the thing is that it's so hard to stay relevant at all time and build that yourself. There are solutions out there that can do it for you so that you can keep your core focus, which is talking to your client and then working a solution with them. And that's why what you've built, Dan, just really fits the modern model on how to get engagement from your database and for it to build trust so that you're a step ahead of everybody else that bombards information their way.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself, Frank. I think you're the biggest the most important thing that what you said is like right, like they're not just getting that happy birthday email from you. They're getting it from, these dozens of other providers. I think that's a really excellent point. So I think with that, what I'm going to show you like what we're seeing in terms of actual results from this because it all sounds good in theory, right? But like what's actually happening. So we've got a story from a Finmo user here, actually, who's been a customer of ours, I think, since we did that first webinar with you guys, just over a year ago. So Jeff McGinn at Indy, he loaded in 175 clients from the prior 5 years. And in 8 months since he did that, he had generated 13 refis and seven buy and sells with those same clients. And in a little bit, I'm going to get into exactly what was behind those deals that he generated. But this is the kind of results that we've seen from customers converting up to 10% of past clients into fresh business within a year. The ROI is crazy. And we're also seeing roughly 5% of clients actually engaging with their broker to request more information or advice on those personalized insights that they're seeing on a monthly basis. And so that's how this turns into results for you. Insights create engagement, they create curiosity, gets people thinking about their situation. That results in conversations, and some number of those conversations ultimately turn into new transactions. Before I get into the demo, just want to explain why, I believe this is such a great pairing, Finmo and Ownwell. Um, you know, Data is a bit of a pain, right? Like, you have to manage multiple systems. You might have, outdated data, and you might have to, export it to this and import it to that. Well, with Finmo, when you sign up for Ownwell, all you got to do is enter your Finmo API key. That's in the settings section of Finmo, and literally within seconds, Ownwell just pulls in all of your funded active deals, and augments them with our third-party real estate data, the most up-to-date rates from Lender Spotlight, which powers like the new mortgage scenarios that you'll see in the Ownwell reports. And that way, anytime, well, firstly, you get your existing database in seconds or a couple minutes. And then moving forward, anytime you've got a funded file, that automatically just imports into Ownwell. Your clients start getting those reports. And then that way, you don't have to re-engage because they're engaged from the beginning when you're already top of mind, when you've just gotten them that mortgage. And so that's why, the seamless way to to use Ownwell is ideally if you're already on Finmo. So I'm gonna go through what this looks like in practice next. Go through some, like a real scenario here. I'm gonna look at it first from the client's perspective, and then we're gonna take a look at what it looks like from the broker's perspective in OWell. And so I want you to imagine this situation that I'm gonna take you through. This is like a real situation. I've used a fake name here, a fake address, but the scenario is real. So the client I'm about to show you, they're 2 years into a 5-year term with TD, up for renewal in January 2029. So probably not on your radar yet, and probably not on the bank's radar yet. Um, so that's what you know. Now, here's what you don't know. Since this couple bought this starter home a couple years ago, they've experienced a significant increase in their equity. They're about to start a family. This is new for them. And their goal is to eventually have a bigger home, their forever home. They think that's years away. Now, keep in mind that this couple, this hypothetical scenario I'm about to show you, they don't know what their average, they don't know what their equity is. Like they're like most Canadians, they don't have this information. They've heard that rates have gone down since they bought their home, but they don't know what that really means for them if they can save money right now or not. And they're too busy to, to reach out to figure that out right now. So that's the setup. So I'm going to want you to imagine them receiving this report from you, and we're going to walk through it together. So I'm going to switch tabs here. Frank, just give me a thumbs up if you can see my new tab. Is that visible?
I can see
Okay,
your new tab. You're good.
great. Alrighty. So this is an example Ownwell report. So the first thing, of course, at the top is we've got the mortgage professional. That's you. Here I'm pretending to be one, but imagine it's your profile, not theirs. First thing they see is their estimated home value. Wow, that's a lot more than what they bought their home for a couple years ago. They happen to be in Calgary, which has had quite a run up in home prices over that period of time. This is really interesting. Remember, this is the biggest investment for most Canadians, and so being able to track this month over month is highly engaging. Um, and the other thing to keep in mind as you're looking through this report, consumers, they're not really thinking about their specifically their mortgage as you might. They're thinking about their whole home ownership situation. And that's how we've designed this report. So anyway, first thing they see, their home value. Wow, okay. Okay. And then we've already got their estimated home equity. We're able to get that, by the way, because we plug into Finmo to get that mortgage application data, which we use to estimate this. Um, and a lot of Canadians don't even understand quite how home equity works. So we show them that. They can be like, okay, show me this calculation. Right, it's my home value minus my mortgage balance. That's my home equity. Cool. Okay, so first thing, we've got them hooked with the home value. Then they scroll down, we find out, wow, if they were to break their mortgage today, they might be able to save over 30 grand. And we'll walk through how this all gets calculated later if we've got time. But this is what people want to know. They don't want to know that rates have dropped. That's meaningless to them. They want to know for their specific situation, after paying penalties, how much could they actually save if they were to work with you right now and get a new mortgage? Next thing they see is their buying power. They might be able to afford a home price up to 1.8 million. And they bought their place for, you know, under a million a couple years ago. Remember I mentioned that was their starter home. They're going to need more space soon. Imagine telling your clients you might be able to afford like, that next step up right now that you think is maybe multiple years away. People are actually moving based on this insight because, as I said, they just have no idea what their scenario is. And people are moving neighborhoods. They're upgrading from condos to townhomes or townhomes to single families. By the way, realtors love this as well, this particular insight, because it's generating business for them through you. Next thing they see is their home equity, but not just their home equity, how much of that they might be able to tap into right now if they were to refi. Then lastly, they can see where they're at in their mortgage roughly. And if they have questions about any of these things, they can just ask you. And if they click one of these buttons, to request more information, to explore potentially moving, that just sends you an automated notification with some context on that borrower and their situation. And then you can pick that up from there, give them a call, and figure out if this is something that they want to pursue right now. So that's the report. This is what's going out to tens of thousands of homeowners every month right now. And it's all about creating engaging, estimated homeownership and mortgage information for them that get them to engage, think about their home, and at some point contact you to explore it. Frank, any questions that you want me to answer so far about this, or should I keep going?
No, not a question specifically, but something I want to highlight right on this. The beauty of it is that the value is clear on the eye as well, and it's so good to be like mobile friendly if they want to scroll through it, right? So it's a great engagement tool for a client that once they've read the first one and they're able to see it, they know that they get that email, they open it, they look for a number. So right away, it's really great. They get a dopamine rush at the same time. They get the cedar number go up, being modified. They're able to really consume that very quickly. And it's something you need in our day and age. Because like Dan said, sometimes people are going to have a nice email. It's drafted, the content has value, but the readability is not in our modern 10 seconds or less version. And people just skim or they go over or they don't take the time to go through. So this fits both. It gives you the number right away. So if they want to consume it, they get it, and they want the level of details that they need, they simply continue to dig in. It's such a great engagement tool. Like I just want to highlight that part of the Bore experience as well.
Well, thanks, Frank. And on the topic of engagement, I mean, that is our number one priority with this product is creating something that your clients will love and that will keep them engaged. We actually had a record month for engagement last month. The average amount of time that a given borrower spent reviewing this report was actually over a minute, which is pretty crazy.
That is
Think,
very high.
think about that versus like a mortgage anniversary email. The other thing that we're really excited about is the average monthly open rate on the Ownwell email hit 68% in August. And so my understanding, industry comps for email opens are around 20 to 30%. 68%, so that's really wild. And that's month over month. It's not like people just read it once and then they're over it. It's every month 68% of people are opening this, checking it out. So just before I jump into what you guys see, what the brokers in the room will see on their side of Ownwell, I just want to share a quick real story from one of our customers, Jeff, earlier that I
For
think.
that,
Oh yeah,
Dan, just because I think there's two questions about the price range in the chat. So do
yeah,
you want to address now, or do you think it's better to wait?
sure. No, let's do it right now, Frank. Let's do it. Yeah.
So basically, there's Alex here saying, how reliable is the data on the home prices? The price range seems pretty large.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. And the reality is that range is large for a reason. These are estimates for sure. Don't want you to think of this as a replacement for an appraisal or a replacement for like a realtor's comparative market analysis. This is an estimate. We found them to be very reliable overall. Now, depending on what market you're in, let's say it's a region with very few sales and there's limited data, that might mean that the estimate is less reliable. But I don't want you to be afraid of this. What we see happen all the time is someone will say, "Hey, is this what my home's worth?" And the brokers that crush it with this product, they say, "I don't know. Let's get you in touch with a realtor partner, and if you're actually interested in making a change soon. By the way, why are you so interested in your home value? Are you guys planning on selling soon?" And then they have a conversation with the realtor. Realtor confirms the price. You can always update the price in Ownwell, by the way, based on a realtor's guidance. And then that way you've been able to, one, solve your client's problem. You're able to understand what their motivation is behind that question or that inquiry, because sometimes it suggests that, a move is in the works. The other thing, of course, you're able to create value out for your partners. That's a valuable conversation with a potential future client for that realtor. So that's a long-winded answer, but to summarize, they're going to be directionally accurate, but the point isn't perfect accuracy and precision here. It's creating conversations where you and your partners get to demonstrate your value.
And there's another one here. I'm not sure if it's a question or more a comment from Lydia. It says, perhaps rewriting the note RE, the 178K. You could apply for an extra X amount in the addition of your existing mortgage amount. I'm assuming it's like a second mortgage or something like that. I don't know if it was a question, Lydia, or if you want to speak to that,
Yeah,
Dan.
for sure. Yeah. So what we're showing them here is if they were to refi right now to access the maximum amount of equity that we think they'd be able to access, it might be around this number. So like if they wanted to, fund a renovation or potentially purchase a second property, just showing not just their equity, but how much of that equity might be accessible. And by the way, each of these sections, clients are able to learn more so they can understand, okay, what are we actually talking about here? And so they've got this information. Also, we say all over the place, both at the bottom and in each of the sections in the learn more, that these are all estimates. And if you're serious about exploring taking out equity or saving interest or moving up, to contact you because you are the expert. We're not trying to replace you here. It's all about allowing you to demonstrate your value to your clients.
So it looks like we've triggered the question flow. So
Well, Fred, I think just so that we don't go over time, maybe we'll Arthur can take a note of those questions. We're going to keep
yeah,
moving. I want to get to the end, and then we'll address the questions, and I can also stay on over time if people have more questions after that. So,
yeah.
real quickly here, I want to share this story from our customer Jeff, our mutual customer Jeff. When he shared with us the crazy results he got, like 20 mortgages from 175 clients, I was like, okay, Jeff, can you help me understand? What was it that led to, some of these new deals? And I love this story he shared because it illustrates our core belief here, which is that you can't always predict who's going to need a mortgage and when, and it's often personal factors that don't come out until you're in conversation with the client that are the reason. And so Jeff shared this story where the client, he asked a question about that home value, which is exactly what we're trying to do. He's like, Jeff, is this home value number right? So what Jeff did, he put him in touch with a realtor. Realtor did a CMA, confirmed the home value. It was actually worth a bit more than the estimate known well. The client decided to pounce on it, sell the place, and buy a new one immediately. Why? Why did this happen? Well, it turns out a couple years prior, this client went through a marital breakdown and he couldn't afford to live near his kids. He had to move 40 minutes away because that's what he could afford at the time. Now, fast forward a couple years, his equity had increased, rates had fallen, and suddenly he finds out, oh my gosh, I can afford a townhome in my kid's neighborhood. Let's do it. And so he bought a new home, sold his old one, because he found out that that thing that he wanted was not only closer than he thought it was actually available right now. And he jumped on it. So it's this kind of stuff that we hear about time and time again. And that's what really motivates us here because this is the kind of stuff where we know brokers can win. This isn't on the bank's radar. I'm just going to quickly rip through the kind of the broker dashboard side of things, and then we'll wrap up the presentation and get to questions. What I'm showing you here is what you'll see once you connect your Finmo account. So as I mentioned previously, it's dead simple. If you're a Finmo user, when you sign up for Ownwell, you link your account. We automatically pull in this data and add all this extra data to it and create these estimates for you. You see all of your clients listed here below. And so if I just pick on a random client here, you'll see that as a broker, you're able to see that client's report, which is great. You're also able to see that client's engagement over here on the right. So here I can see that Stanley has clicked on his most recent report. It looks like he didn't open the one in July, but I can see that he's quite engaged. You're also able to see all of the inputs to the numbers that you see in the report, which is coming from Finmo, plus our real estate partner, plus lender spotlight. So if you're like, let's say you're in conversation with the client and you find out their income has changed, you can edit that. And once you do, if that field you edit as an input to a mortgage calculation like income is, everything will just recalculate itself in real time. You don't have to worry about, doing math. So you can update stuff like that. You can override the home value if the realtor tells you, that it's something other than what's in Ownwell. You can tweak the mortgage information. You can see that we have estimated the posted rate in this case from TD as 7.14 based on when this client got their mortgage. And so we've already got that data. That allows us to come up with a pretty darn good estimate for the prepayment penalty because when we're calculating the IRD, we're factoring in that posted rate discount. You can even see how we came up with our calculations. You can see insight into the prepayment penalty. You can see what the 3 months interest was. You can see the rate used for the IRD. You can also see the rate that we pulled from Lender Spotlight to power the new mortgage scenario that we incorporate here. By the way, we never show rates to the client. They're just used for estimation purposes, but you'll always be able to see them on your side, no well, and that's where the rates are coming from, Lender Spotlight. Um, so that's how you can see what's going on with your clients. Last thing I want to show you here, and this is kind of the one-two punch I call it, is okay, great. All your clients are receiving these reports. They're automatically staying engaged. They're generating conversations for you. You're adding value. But already in your database today, there is probably value that you can unlock. You can click these little shortcuts in your dashboard to see who can save money right now. And what our top performing customers are doing is they're using these as like key call lists, then following up with like Mary here and saying, "Hey Mary, did you know I might be able to save you around 8 grand on your mortgage?" And surprise, surprise, a large number of those clients are moving forward. And so the way to think about it is you import your database, your clients get enrolled in these reports, but then also you can use these shortcuts to drill down and automatically find where the opportunity is today, start engaging with them now, and generate some now business. So there's a bunch of other features in Ownwell for generating leads and working with referral partners, but to stay on time, I'm gonna move on from those, wrap up the demo. We're gonna go back to the deck, and then I've got a few more slides here, and then we'll get into questions. Does that sound like a good plan, Frank?
Sounds good, Dan.
All right. Cool. So, flipping back to the deck, I want to share a few tips about what we've learned from studying our most successful customers. We did a big survey over the summer to ask people what kind of results that they've achieved through Ownwell in terms of actual repeat business, and then we studied what's unique about our top performers. And this is what we learned. Firstly, they enroll their entire database. They don't cherry pick. This is important because it comes back to that core belief that we have that it's not always the obvious candidate that needs a new mortgage. Sometimes it's the person that unfortunately is going to lose money by making a change right now. And again, it's because, you know, people are having to make changes regardless of the market. Life is happening, right? People are starting families, they're moving for work, their parents are moving in, there's all these things happening. So they don't cherry pick. They just get as many in there as possible. That gets the most results. The second thing they do is they focus on getting them enrolled as soon as possible, and knowing that that engagement is going to compound over time. Some people, maybe they get some deals in their first month, but for some people, think about a homeowner. Yeah, what are the odds that the first time they receive a report, that's when they're going to, have a new mortgage need? Maybe it's in month 2, or month 4, or month 8, or month 12. So they stay consistent. And then lastly, they don't just set it and forget it. As I showed you previously, they use the tools to do some proactive engagement and follow-up. They mention it in their other marketing. So they don't stop marketing, they don't stop sending out their newsletter, but they mention it in their newsletter. So in their October newsletter, they'll say, "Hey, don't forget, check your monthly Ownwell report. Oh, you haven't seen it yet? Like, shoot me a note. I can send a new one to you. Or do you have any feedback about it? Let me know. Do you have questions?" And so they really use it as a cornerstone, and they use it as an excuse to touch base with clients because it's a very tangible way that they can anchor a conversation and talk their clients through it. Again, knowing that they are the expert and they'll be able to, add more context than just these computer generated estimates. So those are like the three things that have set our top performing customers apart.
Yeah, something I'll add here then as well is that to put yourself in the shoes of a borrower is super helpful. And I think you'll link to the question in the chat here that says, how long after a mortgage has funded would you recommend? And I'll let you answer that one specifically after then. But the idea is this, right? If you guys are all salespeople, right? There's hunting and calling, I get new leads, and then there's gardening. I want to have something to grow. But often we're so used to like, well, if I call and I'm going to close, like we want to have that mode with our gardening mode, which is not the case. If you want something to grow in the garden, you got to water it. It doesn't always come out the day after, but you know that if you water it enough, then you're going to keep having business come through. So the nice thing with this is that unlike other like sales cycle that you might have where you engage client at a known step for a known reason, this makes them raise their hand. So you have new opportunity, like Dan said, that comes through. So it's sort of a double thing. It's not just your current process you're doing, you're enhancing it because new opportunity comes from it. And it's just so great. But you have to water your garden enough for it to grow. Once you get there, then you're laughing and then you're in a really good spot. So I have an opinion on how long for the funded, which is a bit linking to that, but I'll say this too, like the more you position that tool as part of your service, the more likely they'll engage with it. So what I recommend is as you guys explain the process of doing business with you, explain that this is coming and tell them, hey, let's go through the first one together. I'll show you an example. I'll let you know how to read it. So when they receive that email, they're good to go. They know to expect it. They know the value they get. You don't have to catch them by surprise and say like suddenly, haha, there's a new email in your inbox. That's going to be amongst the noise. If you let them know about it, you teach them, now they're going to know to consume it because they're going to have the value and they're way more likely to act on it. So
Yeah,
that those are the thoughts I would add on how top performers have been using this tool properly. Um,
yeah. You're spot on, Frank. It's a great question and a timely one, so I'll answer it quickly. The short version is um, as soon as they've got their mortgage, they should receive their first report. And the great thing about the Finmo integration is that literally you can set up your Ownwell account so that every night Ownwell will automatically check Finmo for any new funded files. And if there's a new one, it'll pull it in. And it will only start sending to clients once the mortgage has closed. And for the first 6 months after closing, Ownwell will automatically suppress all of the mortgage related insights and it will just show the home value tracker and the mortgage tracker. That's on purpose. Obviously, we don't want to show confusing information to a client just after they got their mortgage that, maybe they could save money right now by refinancing or something like that. It's not relevant. So after 6 months, those other mortgage insights kick in. So I think the point is ideally, moving forward, you don't want to have to re-engage your clients. You want to stay engaged from the start. And guess when engagement's the highest? It's when they've just gotten their mortgage from you. So just keep it going. That's my take on it, at least. So I'm gonna breeze through these last slides quickly because I know folks have questions and I want to get to them. Just in summary here, the way to think about this using these two tools together is you get your existing database in there that you can use to generate immediate ROI, and then moving forward, have your clients automatically receive these as part of the benefit of working with you. So one of our big customers that some of you might know, Alex McFadgen, he actually shows on his Instagram now, he promotes it that this is a benefit of working with him, as you now get these personalized reports. So that's a way that he is standing out, amongst the competition is he's telling people, yeah, like your bank's not going to give you this, but we're giving you all this extra info. We're paying for this for you. And this way we're able to, stay in touch after closing, and I'm here to help you navigate your home ownership journey. So what does this all cost? There's two ways to pay. You can pay monthly, you can pay annually. You can get started for as little as 125 bucks a month. That gets you 100 clients. The pricing scales with database size, and you can see that on our website. You can see, based on the size of your database, how much you'll pay. Um, if you pay annually, you save 20%. There is a one-time setup fee for our customer success team to do an onboarding call with you and get you set up for success. That's 200 bucks. But for Finmo, we've got an offer that we think you're gonna like. If you guys sign up before midnight tomorrow, we'll waive that setup fee so you can get started for just 125 bucks a month. Also, if you load at least 100 clients into Ownwell, we guarantee that within a year you're going to see results. If you don't, engage with us. Our team will set up a call. We'll identify, how to improve it. And if at the end of those 12 months you still aren't satisfied, let us know and we'll make it right. So to take advantage of that offer, go to ownwell.ca/Finmo, and at checkout, all you got to do is enter code FINMO. That'll save you those 200 bucks. And then our team will be in touch to set up your onboarding call. It will help you hit the ground running, and your clients can literally be receiving this stuff. It could be tomorrow. So that's the offer. I'm gonna turn it over to Frank, maybe or Arthur from our team to start pulling some of the best questions from the group, and we can tackle those. And then if we need to go over time, I'm happy to stick around and do so.
Yeah, before the questions, I just want to say one of the reasons too why I love, working with you, Dan, on this is that out of all the technology out there, and there's a lot, and AI has been creating so many things, it's so difficult now for brokers to understand the return on investment they make when they get a tech. And that's a question that I get on everybody I talk to. What about this tech? What about the other? But with Ownwell, it's so clear cut. And the fact that you give the guarantee then is just, it's a no-brainer. It's like, try it. You absolutely have nothing to lose. And in our day and age, that's a rare feat to be able to do that. And it just goes to show like that the common DNA that we share in terms of like we want to put everything we can in the hands of brokers. Same thing with how we offer our tech with just no entry fee. People can use it. Our goal is basically your success is our success. And that's the way that we've been working it. And it's rare to have those opportunity to be able to do something without any type of financial risk. And it's going to link to one of the questions, when it comes to like, oh, CRM versus this, does that replace my CRM? Because I'm sure like some people were thinking about that. They already have a lot of tools. So where that's going to fit in, we could address it. But just that it's such a great a great product to be able to put in, on your database through and have no risk. It's fantastic.
Great. No, that's awesome, Frank. Obviously, I agree. I'm a little biased, but yeah, I agree. So let's use these last 11 minutes here and go through some questions. So, Arthur, or do you want to come off mute here and just ask away?
Hello, yes. We got a couple here that are really good. One from Stephanie was relating to um, the timeline and the sort of to whom of these reports. Like how often the reports get sent out, and who are they going out to? Is it how does that database pull work when it comes to that Finmo integration?
Yeah, it absolutely. So it's going to look at um, anyone with a funded status in Finmo. And by the way, if you haven't updated your statuses, not a big deal. This isn't some like you get one chance to do it and then it's over thing. It's like connect the accounts. We'll pull in what's funded. If you're like, oh my gosh, everything's in progress. I haven't marked them as funded yet. No problem. Go back, update the status to funded. You're able to click import again in Ownwell and it'll just pull them in. So we're going to be looking at your funded clients. And then the second thing is we're only going to automatically import those clients for whom their mortgages have not yet matured. That's just because they're the ones that are most likely to engage, right? Because they've gotten their mortgage through you and it's still a going concern. But you can also add clients in different ways. Like if you've got some old clients, you can add clients manually. You actually don't need to have all of their mortgage information. So let's say that you have a client whose mortgage has matured. Hey, you should still be keeping in touch with them. You can add them manually, or you can send us a CSV file and we can upload them for you. So in summary, for Finmo, it's going to pull in everything that is still active and funded. And then if you've got past clients, you can add them manually yourself, or you can send us a CSV dump of them and we can import them for you. Well, and the other part of the question, Arthur, frequency. The reports go out every month, and that is on purpose. We studied the different frequencies and tested them, and the one that was most optimal for engagement was monthly. As I said, roughly 68% open rates each month, less than 1% of clients unsubscribe. And so that tells us that not only do homeowners want this information, but they want it every month. It's kind of like checking your credit score. Same idea.
Mhm. And a really good question. Don't know who from this came in anonymous, but it's to do with changing brokerages. So if I'm looking at changing brokerage, can I use Ownwell to pull my data out of Finmo where I'm at in my current place, and then make the transition to my new place and integrate with my new Finmo?
100%. Yep, it happens frequently. So yeah, basically we just link to your old Finmo account, pull that data over, and then once you've got your new Finmo account set up, you update your key, and then moving forward, we just pull in stuff from your new account.
I'll jump in here as well for anybody. This one is anonymous, so I'm going to address to everybody. But anyone, when you have questions that are related to Finmo, please never hesitate. Reach out to your account executive if you've been in touch with them, or even with our chat and say, hey, I'm about to go through XYZ. Can I be put in touch with somebody? We still take, really good care to walk people through those changes. It's big. It has an impact to your business. We're there to really assist you and walk you through it, whatever the integration, whatever the cost of that, there's no friction throughout that period of time and no interruption of business for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
And then I've got two from Jacqueline. One is linked to when we talk about funded. What does that necessarily mean here? Is that the same thing as files being paid, or what?
Yeah, exactly. So I know that different brokers use statuses in different ways, but we just want to ensure that this mortgage has closed. Like this isn't just an in progress client. We know that they got their mortgage through you. So we need some way to identify those files, and just to make it simple, we're like, okay, we'll use the funded status, and then as I said, if you're using something else, not a big deal. Just update them to funded, and then they'll come in.
Hmm. And how are the, let's say I'm starting with 100 clients, how are those 100 clients determined? Which I've
Oh,
got
good
a
one.
database of 800, but I'm
Yeah.
starting with 100.
Okay. Well, firstly, what I'll say, and I know this is a bit of a self-serving statement, but I absolutely think you should bring the 800 in. What we've proven is that the ROI absolutely scales with database size. Like, oh my gosh, this is going to cost me thousands of dollars to get all these hundreds of clients receiving it. Again, that guarantee applies. If you're sending these out to 800 people over the course of the year, you only need a couple to cover the entire cost of the subscription, and we know from having done this for a year that that's going to happen. So that's my little spiel on that. But then to answer the actual question, it will pull in automatically those that are coming up for maturity soonest. And that's again to help you, win in this fight at renewal. These clients are going to be facing a decision soon anyway, and so may as well start by getting this valuable content that the banks are not sending them out to them first, and then hopefully you're able to connect with them about things other than just rate, understand their personal situation before they get hooked by the bank.
And another great one from Jack Klein, actually. When we're talking about 100, how does the seats work? Are we talking 100 files, 100 clients? Like,
Yeah.
what if I have two people on one file?
Right, right. Okay. So right now, we will just pull in the most recent mortgage. So like let's say that it's a client and they've had multiple mortgages with you on the same property over the years. We identify that situation, we just pull in the most recent one. If it's multiple properties that someone owns concurrently, each one will count as its own report. And that's because each report right now is just tied to a single property right now. And let's say it's a couple that owns a home together, that will just count as one right now, and it's because currently we just email the report to the prime. That's going to be changing before the end of the year, by the way. It'll go out to all co-owners, but right now it's just tied to one. And so that way, kind of maximize the number of people that you're able to send these reports out to. So one client seat is equivalent to, you can think of it like one property.
Mhm. And earlier on in your demo of Ownwell, I know you deliberately skipped over this bit for time, but there's no other questions other than this one. Do we have time here to take a look over the landing page and what that would ideally be used for me as a broker?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I just switched tabs again, making sure that Zoom is still tracking it. Frank, are
Yep.
you seeing a different tab here? Okay, cool. So this is only available on our annual plan, by the way, and so you don't pay extra for it. You just get it at no additional cost if you pay for a year up front. It automatically gets created for you. You can customize it with a custom greeting, and you can embed a Loom video. Now, what the goal of this is to allow any homeowner out there, whether they're a client of yours or not, to get your own well report. So again, in Canada, it's really tough to get hands on this information if you're a consumer. So you can now offer any homeowner an Ownwell report, allow them to track their home value, track the mortgage opportunities, and all they need to do is go to your landing page and opt in. So let's show you what this looks like in practice. So you get a link for your page. You can customize this, by the way. You can change this to, Acme Mortgage Company or whatever you want to change it to. And then you can link to this anywhere on the internet. So either if it's on your website, in your social media, in your email signature, not clients, any homeowner can now be like, hey, this looks cool. Yeah, I wanna unlock the full potential of my home, get my free report. They enter a few details, and then they're opted in. They're receiving your report monthly. They're also visible as a lead in your Ownwell database. And we do recommend recording a little video here. This is something, again, our top performers have done to demonstrate or to generate more engagement, more trust, is by telling people what this is. Hey, Canadian homeowners, this is one of the things that, the banks don't want you to see, blah, blah, blah. Here's one of the things I do for my clients. By the way, you don't have to be my client to start receiving this. You can find out right now if I can get you a better deal. And so they can watch that from you. And then one other thing I'll share with this that actually this is a Finmo customer that did this. He had a big database of stale leads, so like hundreds of leads from the past, I don't know however many years, who decided not to move forward with him. So he sent them an email with a link to his page, and like I think like 50 of them opted in, and now a number of them have opportunities, and he's in conversation about those, right? And so this is just another way to set yourself apart, show how you're a bit different and give people a reason to engage with you. And hopefully you'll end up doing the mortgage for some number of them.
Mhm. And I got one last question because I know we're coming up for time here to sneak in. possibly two if we've got time. One to do with the client seat side. If a client owns multiple properties, I've got Jeff Smith, he owns three houses. Is that three seats in Ownwell or is that Jeff's seat?
It is. It is. It is three. If you're wondering why, it's just because we pay for the real estate data for each residential address, and so that's how we've done it that way. Um, yeah. So Jeff
Mhm.
would get three different reports.
And the flip side, if Jeff's got one property, but with our new future feature of having multiple sort of co-owners on the reports, is Jeff and Jeff's wife and Jeff's four kids who are all signed up for the report, is that one client per person, or does that just fall under Jeff's one property?
That would just fall under the one. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. That we'll be releasing this feature, probably before the end of the year, and then it won't impact your price at all. But it will impact your engagement in a positive way because, all of a sudden it's not just the one person who's going to be able to read it. It's going to be, everyone, all the owners of the home.
I've got a couple of outstanding ones. Do we have time for answering those?
I have time.
And
Frank, I
Uh,
know you
yep.
can you feel free to bounce at any time, and Arthur and I can handle the rest.
No, I'm interested in the
and
conversation, so I'm staying.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, if anyone does think of any questions after the fact, obviously we send in the recording. You can also just reach out to support@ownwell.ca and I'll help you out if you've got any questions coming in after the fact. But yeah, we've got a couple of two here. Um, can I run reports or export data? Do any sort of data filtering myself to sort by like closest upcoming renewals, anything like that? What does that look like?
Yeah, so you can't export that stuff from Ownwell. I mean, you can do some things like use the filters and shortcuts in Ownwell to find, some of those that you want to prioritize. So, for example, you can see those that are maturing, in the next 12 months here. As I said, you can see who might be able to save right now, who has the most trade up potential, things like that. But in terms of exporting data from the system, there's only one way to do that right now, and it's quite limited, and it's to see if you want to see who has been sent the report in the past month and have they read it or not. You can export that list. That'll just give you a list of names and emails. The purpose of that was if let's just say, I don't know, you wanna boost your engagement rate. You're like, hey, I've got a great engagement rate, it's like 60%, but I want to get the rest of the 40 to receive this. This is just a very quick way to see who are the 40 that haven't read it yet. Now I'm going to compose an email to them saying, hey, don't know if you've seen that report yet. What do you think of it? Let me know if you have questions that you can use to kind of boost engagement.
Mm. And do I get any sort of notification of potential opportunities? For example, if there's, hey, these are the best rate arbitrage opportunities that you've got in your database. How would I surface those things?
Yeah. So we don't have like, push alerts yet. That's definitely something that's on our roadmap. But what you could do is again, use the savings potential shortcut, and that'll show you the list of those who, we believe might be able to save right now. And then you can quickly take a look and see if that makes sense to you or not to move forward and give them a call.
Mhm. And on the savings potential side, I'm just full on machine gunning you with them now as they come
Yeah,
in. So
do
I
it.
appreciate this, everyone pinging these messages in the chat. So Omar's going to calculate the penalty and savings for the client based on if the current mortgage is broken, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So let me break that down a little bit more detail for you because I know it's a common question. So let's look at this situation here. What you're seeing on the left, this blue bar, this is the estimated interest that the client would pay over the remainder of their current term. And we are using the information that we've got from the original Finmo app to be able to estimate that. Now over here on the right, this gray bar, this is how much interest we think they would pay over that same duration of time if they were to get one of today's best rates based on the information that we have on file for them and the information available in Lender Spotlight. Again, we never show that rate to the client because this is just an automated estimate, but it's saying, okay, given what we know about Dan and his property and where he lives, if he was to get, the best rate that he might be able to qualify for today, how much would he pay over that same amount of time? And then this little aqua colored bar on top here, that's the estimated prepayment penalty. And the difference between these two scenarios, the current scenario, the status quo on the left, And the hypothetical new scenario on the right, the difference between them is the number that you see up here. And so that's how we come up with that number. Of course, we know that there might be other ways that other strategies that you might employ to help someone save. And that's why we stay down here. This estimate, it's an estimate. There might be other ways to save, want to explore, and then this way, clients that have a priority to save money right now, they can get in touch with you. And it's the same idea for all the different sections of the report. Again, our goal here is to create meaningful conversations where you can add value, build trust. And so for most of them, we say something along the lines of, "This is an estimate. If you're serious about exploring this, click this button and we can chat." Um, One other thing I'll mention is, some of you might be wondering, okay, well, what if they can't save money right now? What does that look like? That totally happens, right? So we show the calculation regardless. So let's say that the client would actually pay more money if they were to break their mortgage today. We show them that too. And I think that's helpful because some people might think, oh, rates have gone down. I can save. But after that prepayment penalty, maybe they can't. And so we show them that. We'll say, like, let's pull up another example here. Let's find someone without savings potential. Let's find someone at a really low rate. Okay, this person might spend an additional $5,600 if he was to break his mortgage right now because he's already in a good rate. So this is helpful information for your clients to know as well because if they're good, if they can't save money, we show them that. That's a bonus. And if they can, well, that's also good news.
It's also really good to build trust to show both sides of the coins. Whenever you hold
Exactly.
one back, it leaves room
Hmm.
for questioning the integrity of the message. So
That's right.
currency is really powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Any other good ones there, Arthur?
Yeah, a great one was what's the bare minimum info that needs to get imported. So if I don't
Mm.
have all the mortgage details and all this, I've just got, name, contact deals. What do you guys actually need for me to
Yep.
get my database in if I
Okay.
don't have everything?
Right. Okay. Bare minimum, we need name, email, uh, home address, type of property. So is it like a condo, detached, townhouse, etc. Um, when they bought the property and the purchase price. With that, clients will get a partial report where they are then able to add the mortgage information themselves. So let's look at an example of what that looks like. So let's say that you just had that bare minimum property and contact information. What would clients see? They would see something like this. So they see the home price, that's cool. And then they see these placeholder values for all the mortgage related insights. The goal here is to get them to add their mortgage so that they can see, hey, what's my actual situation? And these animating numbers and charts help them see that, hey, there's something valuable here. All I need to do is add some information. They're then able to, add the minimum info about their mortgage. And if they click on Lock My Results, the page will refresh and it will show them, their savings potential, their buying power, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm. And do a couple of other ones here that are really good. Do realtors and the like use Ownwell as well? Because my concern is maybe sending dupe reports if they're getting reports from the realtor, from their financial advisor, and from me.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry about this. The way we've set it up, we didn't get to talk too much about this today, but we are getting into the real estate space, but through brokers. So as a mortgage broker who's using Ownwell, you can sponsor a realtor. What that looks like is you basically send the realtor an invite through Ownwell. They get their own Ownwell account. It's paid for through your account. They can then add their data to the system. And then when reports go up to their clients, it's the same idea, but it's coming from the realtor in this case because they're the relationship owner. But then you will be co-branded as the mortgage broker alongside them. So you're essentially getting promoted to their database of clients. And then that way, when their clients are, adding their mortgage info and asking questions about mortgages, that comes to you. So that's how we're doing it with referral partners.
Yeah. And maybe one last one here is if there are any rates outside a lender spotlight, an example given by Mitch here is National Bank, who often has super low rates. But anything outside of Lender Spotlight. Is there a way that I can upload rate sheets manually or do overrides or anything like that? How does that work?
Not at this time. It is a common request though, so it's something that we're going to be exploring in the near future.
Mhm.
To say too, what's really nice, like I remember when you launched Ownwell and what the shape it's in now, the growth of the software, it's really nice. So there's going to be a lot of new things coming up, I'm sure, as well.
Oh yeah, we're really just getting started. We've got a lot of exciting stuff in the works, and so yeah, no, we're pumped to get hopefully get you on board and just continue improving it. And the ways that we do that is largely just based on the feedback and the requests that we get from our customers.
Mhm.
Well,
All
Arthur,
right.
I think maybe we've got time for one more, and then I actually think I have to run in a couple minutes here. But we'll send the recording out later today to everyone that registered, and I'll put the offer and the link in there again. And then if people have questions, they can just respond to that email, or as Arthur said, they can get in touch at support@ownwell.ca. So, Arthur, do we have one more that we want to answer before we take off?
Yeah, one more great one. T's and C's. What do you do with my data?
Oh yeah, yeah. Nothing. So we're completely independent. We're Canadian owned and operated. We don't, we're not affiliated with any other technology company or network. And our sole business is charging mortgage brokers a subscription fee so that they can send these reports out to their clients. And if you look at our privacy policy, you'll see that that is the only thing that we do. Anything else, it's not applicable. We don't do it. Um, and so kind of the way that I would be thinking about this if I was you is thinking about it kind of the same way you'd think about a CRM. We're not a CRM to be clear, but like if you're, thinking about, using Broker Edge or My Broker Pro or Blue Mortgage, it's the same concept. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. This has been great. Really engaged crowd today. I've really appreciated the questions that have come in. We hope to see you on the other side, and also
Oh,
just wanted to thank Frank and the
oh,
Lendesk team. So, yeah, Frank, is there anything that you wanted to say before we take off?
definitely. Well, to everybody, first, thank you because a lot of people stayed over time here. So for me, it means there's value, and I'm really thankful for your time. The other thing I'll mention is Dan and I are going to be at MPC in Ottawa. So for all you guys who are going to be there, come see us, come ask questions. We're always happy to help and meet you guys and be able to provide some clarity. The other thing is for those of you who might not be on Finmo, we share the same philosophies. So we like to give a turnkey system ready to give a better client engagement and more efficiencies to your process, including an integration to Ownwell. So I've dropped in the chat if you guys are interested in talking about Finmo. The way we process is we first just meet you to understand your needs. So the last thing we want is for you guys to waste time trying to explore the system or anything like that. But if you're considering tech and you know that it's an important part of your business, and you want to have a consultation at no cost to find out if it's right for you, visit the website, book some time. We're always happy to meet you guys and assist you moving forward.
Awesome, Frank. Thanks again for co-hosting this with me. Thanks to everybody at Lendesk, and thanks to all of you for sticking around and asking such great questions. Have an awesome Thursday. Take care.
Bye, guys. Thanks.